بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. قال الله في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and minds with the loud salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Death is an inevitable fate that will come for each and every single one of us without a doubt. It's befitting that Salah ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. In this world which is temporary, we use it in the best way that we can. Death is so unexpected to the point where in some of our ahadiths they come and say to us that the reason why some people have their eyes closed and eyes open during their deaths is that death comes so fast that they don't have the chance to even blink. Why is it that some people have their eyes open and closed to their deaths? Exactly this. Death is so unexpected and quick and swift that it doesn't even give many of us the chance to even blink or leave our eyes open. We don't even know what we're doing at that point. We don't even know if we can even do anything. Well, honestly, we can't. Many of us are unable to do anything in that moment because death is that swift to the point where many of us have our eyes left open or closed without any will. It's just as it was. So, as we pass on to the other world, the other destination in this life, the hereafter, we will be dependent on what we have done in this world or dunya. The dunya is the vase where we are able to adorn and make use of it based on how we fill it, how we adorn it, how we decorate it. Some might come and say that the world is completely bad with everything in it. Some might say that it's good. It has many opportunities and many chances for one to have prosperity in their other world. But in reality, the world is an empty vase. It has no value in itself. The value that it's given is based on what's put inside of it. If I make good use of this world, it's as if I have adorned this vase with flowers, whether I have color coded it, whether I have put it in a set order. This world is like a vase that I can adorn it with flowers, or I can give it the ugliest form by filling it with rubbish, garbage, trash. The way that I make use of this world is indeed how I will adorn or decorate the vase of my life. Each and every single one of us will be given dunya with the meaning of good or bad based on how we have used it. A lot of the times it's possible that in this world we may have wanted to adorn the vase, but in reality we have filled it with a dead flower. Last night we have been going over the topic of waswas. Well, a lot of the times, many of the times, we might think that we are doing something good, something to adorn and decorate our world, the vase of the dunya. But in reality, it's a dead flower which is just there with our deluded thoughts and impression that it's something beautiful and adorned and decoratable. In this world, there are many things that I may do with the impression that it might have a benefit for me. It might make my world beautiful, but in reality, it's just a dead flower which you thought was going to help you. Sometimes it's because we are not very careful and we neglect the conditions and procedures that we need to be cautious for in our religious rituals, such as our prayers. If I don't take wudu and I say I'm doing it for Allah, Allah is lenient, He's kind, He's fair, so I'll do my prayers without wudu. This is one of the ways that I can put a dead flower in this vase. Because in reality, I'm not adorning it, but I think I'm adorning it. It's a dead life. Something that is just an empty form of movements and is hollow in itself. It's just an empty shell. Nothing really beneficial comes out of it, and it doesn't have true meaning or essence. But on the other hand, it's possible that someone might be too overcautious, might be over obsessive with going over the laws and the procedures, the conditions needed in one's rituals of prayers, dua, and many other. This is called waswas, and waswas can also be a cause in you putting a dead flower inside of this vase, which you have thoughts, and many people think, and it's the majority thinking that waswas, or being over excessive, being too much, and taking care of your procedures or your shurut or the conditions in your rituals can adorn this face of the dunya, when in reality it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want from you. The way that we are able to adorn this face is by going over that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants of us. If we go the opposite way, then we have filled it up with garbage and rubbish, things that are unnecessary and unneeded. When I fill it up with something that's unneeded, then I'm not in reality adorning this face, but I'm just thinking that I'm adorning this face. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want? What does He will from me, and what does He request of me? If I do my prayers but with attention to every single detail, to the points where I have OCD, where when I'm very over caring that I can't do my prayers without feeling good in it. I know myself, some elderly people, that in their prayers, when they finish, they go over all the procedures, they go all over all the conditions. Anyone would look at them, any sane person at least, and would say that their prayer was correct. There's no problem with it, no fault. But when they finish their prayers, they say that because it didn't feel right, I'll redo my prayer from the beginning. In reality, this is not something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. This is something that He doesn't want from us. In reality, He dislikes such an act. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not mandated upon you, obliged upon you, anything that exceeds your limits. Do anything that you can, and do anything that is correct. If, for example, I'm unable to find water, that doesn't mean I should completely get rid of my prayer and say, because I don't have water, I can't get wudu. No, do tayammum, use dirt. Some might say that I don't use muhr. No, I don't use leaves or anything besides muhr, the turbah that we use in our prayers. Because of that, I can't do my prayers unless I have the turbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hadith, many narrations that are sahih, between each and every single scholar, said that you are able to do sajda on something that grows from the ground and is not eaten and is not worn. It's fine to do sajda on them. If a person is too over excessive, too over caring, over obsessive, then indeed that's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want from you. And it's like putting a dead rose inside of the vase of the dunya, thinking with the impression that I am ordaining it. In the verse which was recited in the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ هَلْ نُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِالْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا. Shall I inform you of the greatest losers in their action? الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا. They are those who do righteous in this world while thinking they are doing something good that will benefit them in the other world. When in reality, it's nothing but an empty shell. It's of no use to them. One of the ways that our actions can be useless for us is when we follow none other than the Satan, Shaitan, the devil, through our waswas. We had gone over a hadith last night, and it's good to review it tonight as well, from the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, where a man by the name of Ibn Sanan came to him and started talking to him about a man who was very overcautious with his wudu and his prayers. He said that this man is an intellectual man. This man is aqil. He has aql. This man he's careful and he's caretaking of his prayers. He's an aqil person. This man is aqil. The Imam Sadiq alayhi salam then replied, قال Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, وَأَيُّ عَقْلٍ لَهُ وَهُوَ يُطِيعُ الشَّيْطَانِ. What intellect, what aql does he have when he in reality is following none other than Satan? Ibn Sanan asked, how is it that he's following the Satan? The Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, سَلْهُ هَذَا الَّذِي يَأْتِيهِ مِنْ أَيِّ شَيْءٍ هُوَ. Go and ask that person, ask him, what is it that you are doing? This action, this caution that you are taking, what is it in reality? What's the meaning behind this? And he will tell you, فَإِنَّهُ يَقُولُ لَكَ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. He will tell you, indeed, he will tell you, he himself, that this is none other than the action of me following none other than the devil. This man had gone through every single condition that was needed, every single procedure that was needed, gone over all the requirements needed for his wudu and prayers. But even though he had done this, he was not feeling right with it, and he didn't come to terms with it, which would cause him to have unnecessary OCD or waswas in his a'mal. This is not a problem which is very little, but many of us have. Not little, but many of us. Such a problem is not only apparent in your prayers, but also in many of the other things. I myself, one time in the shrine of Lady Ma'suma alayha salam in Qum, with one of my friends, we had gone next to these water dispensers in the shape of octagons, 8 sides, and in each side there are 2 water dispensers. One side, there was one man who was pouring a cup of water for himself, and I had gone to pour a cup of water for myself as well. Right when I came close to the water dispenser, this man took his hand back and took a few steps backwards. I got confused, honestly, anyone would. It was like he was startled or scared, but I didn't pay attention to it. He does what he does, and I'll do what I do. But then he came to me and he said, I hope you don't feel disrespected by what I did. But the thing is that my OCD is to the point that if someone's next to me, I feel as if my hand has become najis. It's so bad that when I'm walking down the streets and I see someone put their feet on dirt, on blood, or anything najis, for example, it's to the point that when I see someone else has their foot najis, I have to wash my own shoes. It's to the point where I have to spend hours in the restroom just so I can be sure that I am tahir. It's very bad, to the point where if someone's hand is next to me, I have to wash it. I'm not comfortable at all. It's that bad. Some are going through such problems just because of waswas and waswasa. This is something unnecessary. This is over obsession. Some in their prayers, because it didn't feel right, they have to do it all the way from the beginning. What are you doing? I just didn't feel right with my prayers. This is all just unnecessary OCD in religion and Islam. Something that we are refrained from doing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says, وَلَا يُكَلِّفُ النَّفْسِ وَلَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. I have not made anything obliged to you except that which is in your limits, that which is in your boundaries. And do not go over everything that is not. Someone else's hand got najis. Why do you have to wash your own hands? Your prayer didn't feel right. Well, it's fine. You went over through all the procedures. You will, with these actions, indeed be the greatest of losers in their action, as was recited in Surah Al-Kahf. I, when thinking and deluded in this thought that I am putting a beautiful rose inside of my vase of the dunya, in reality, I'm placing a dead rose with no life, which is falling apart in this vase, thinking with the impression that what I am doing is good. Now, what is the cause of waswas in many of us? The cause can be divided into 2. One, because I have no knowledge, and this is among many of us, a lot of us, I know myself, that they have waswas, or they retry and repeat whatever they do, or they're overcautious because they have no knowledge of the Islamic rulings of such things. I don't know it. Because I don't know it, I'll be cautious. If you don't know it, the best way is to go and ask, to search, to find answers. If you leave it as is, if you leave it as is, it will get worse, and without a doubt, in the passings of time, will cause you to have your prayers repeated because it didn't feel right. Second, it's because some people actually have a problem. It's because it's an actual problem. For example, the man in Haram, which I came in contact with myself, there is no way that he did not know that another person's hands getting najis has nothing to do with himself. But the thing is that he had it so obsessed, was so over-cautious with it, to the point where he completely thought that everything that became najis, it was upon him to wash himself. This is a problem, and it's one of the biggest problems. If someone falls into this, it will be very bad for them. Just as the man that I had met in Haram myself with one of my friends. Now, what are the cures for waswas? An interesting topic which we shall be going over in the future nights, for our time has reached its limit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq, success of becoming among the true Shi'as of the Ahlul Bayt. And may we be all alim and amil. to the teachings of the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.